Imagine being crowned emperor before you could even speak. This was Puyi, the last emperor of China. He was just 2 years old when he was put on the throne as the son of heaven, the ruler of the mighty Qing dynasty. But behind the golden throne, the truth was very different. The dynasty was collapsing, and the little emperor was nothing more than a child dressed in silk. He grew up inside the Forbidden City, a sprawling palace complex with over 9,000 rooms. Servants bowed before him at every glance, but he didn't really have any power. He was a prisoner of tradition, forbidden to step beyond the palace walls. While the world modernized, young Puyi was trapped in a kingdom of shadows. He had no idea the revolution that would end the Qing dynasty was just around the corner. By the time he was a teenager, the revolution had erupted and the boy emperor lost his throne. But his story didn't end there. Soon he was put on a train and sent to Tianjin, where he met his new masters, the Japanese. They made him a puppet ruler of a puppet state, a figurehead with no real power. Imagine being the leader of a country that no longer exists. That's how Puyi felt when he moved into the Japanese-occupied Tianjin. The Japanese used him as a propaganda tool, a symbol of their supposed benevolence towards the Chinese people. They forced him to give a speech on the radio, saying, "We Chinese love the Japanese. We should be good friends forever." But behind the scenes, they treated him like a disposable commodity, a piece of property that could be traded and bartered. When the war ended, the Chinese government arrested him as a war criminal. But after 3 years, they realized they couldn't prove he committed any crimes, so they let him go. The once mighty emperor was now just an ordinary man. He tried to start a new life, getting married and working as a gardener. In his spare time, he wrote poetry and played with his pet monkey. He lived a surprisingly normal life for a man who once ruled over one of the largest empires in the world, but he never forgot what he had lost. In 1967, the Cultural Revolution came and the Red Guards stormed his house. They dragged him out onto the street and paraded him around as a symbol of the decadent past. But soon they let him go and he returned to his life of gardening and poetry. He even became an avid birdwatcher, spending his days looking for rare species to add to his collection. It was a peaceful way to spend his golden years, far from the palace intrigue and foreign invasions. In 1976, Chairman Mao died and China began to change. The next year, the government invited Puyi out of his retirement to give a speech about his life. He agreed, and in front of a national television audience, he spoke frankly about his life as the last emperor. After his speech, he became a national celebrity, appearing in magazines and newspapers across the country. Finally, he was being treated like a human being rather than a pawn in someone else's game. But it was too late for Puyi to enjoy his newfound freedom. He had suffered a stroke and was already too sick to enjoy his old age. He died in October of 1979, just a month after his 62nd birthday. After his death, the government built him a tomb near the city. It was a grand funeral for a fallen emperor, but only a handful of people attended. By this point, China had changed so much that few people remembered the last emperor, and so the 2,000-year-old imperial system ended with a whimper rather than a bang.